Commander Jake Morrison stood at the wide observation deck of the New Horizons station, Earth drifting slowly below. The planet turned in silence, blues and whites swirling against the void. It was the kind of view that made you question the fragility of civilization, the meaning of existence itself. Then, the quiet was broken. The communication array came alive with patterns Jake had never seen before. They were not random bursts of static. They were mathematical, structured, deliberate. They were not from Earth. Jake's first instinct was to call Lieutenant Amy Collins, his communications officer. She slid into her station, hands moving quickly across controls as she pushed every analysis program online. For minutes the station hummed with activity, until Amy looked up, her eyes wide, her breath short. "Commander, these signals aren't natural. They're artificial. They're alien." Jake felt his heart hammering. Humanity had waited centuries for this moment, but no amount of waiting prepared you for it to actually happen. He triggered the emergency protocol. Within moments, his screen filled with the face of General Scott Parker of Earth Defense Command. Even through the secure feed, Jake could see it, the same disbelief etched across the general's features. "Are you certain?" Parker asked, his voice steadier than his eyes. "Yes, sir," Jake answered. "Lieutenant Collins has already pulled partial translations. They're speaking in universal mathematical concepts. We're beginning to decode meanings." And then, before either man could take another breath, the main screen lit up with the first crew translation. "Greetings to the peaceful inhabitants of the third planet. We are representatives of the Galactic Confederation. We come with offers of friendship and guidance. Please prepare for formal contact." Jake read the words aloud, the taste of them strange in his mouth. Peaceful inhabitants. He wondered what illusion had given them that impression. On Earth, Dr. Lisa Grant was rushing through the sterile halls of the Geneva Research Facility when her phone rang with the call she'd waited for her entire life, and dreaded in equal measure. "Dr. Grant, this is the Council. Emergency session in 2 hours. Bring everything on alien contact scenarios." She hung up and gripped her files so tightly her knuckles went white. Lisa had spent her career building models of alien civilizations, hostile, indifferent, or incomprehensible. But never had she considered that the galaxy might assume humanity was peaceful. By the time she reached the Global Emergency Council, world leaders were already assembled, some physically, most as secure holographic links. At the head of the table sat President John Carter. General Parker briefed them with clipped precision, and Lisa was asked to interpret the structure of the alien language. She leaned forward, scanning the strange yet oddly precise text. "They are confident we're what they call a peaceful species," she said. "Their tone suggests they see themselves as mentors to primitives. Words like guidance, elevation, protection repeat often. To them, this is not conquest. This is charity." Defense Minister Kate Murphy frowned from her feed. "Charity? Or control? That's not clear yet," Lisa admitted. Colonel Ryan Hayes, silent until now, finally spoke. His voice cut through the room like a blade. "And what happens when they realize we're not what they think we are?" Silence settled over the chamber. Hours later, the aliens sent coordinates for landing, in Nevada. Colonel Hayes double-checked. His expression hardened. "Right in the middle of our most secure weapons testing grounds. Either they don't know, or they're making a point." Lisa shook her head. "No, they don't know. To them it looks like barren desert. They have no reason to suspect what we keep there." President Carter's decision came swiftly, but his voice carried the weight of history. "We'll meet them. But we'll do it on our terms." Security was mobilized. Specialists prepared. Dr. Grant was made humanity's first contact representative. And then, they arrived. From the skies over Nevada, the alien ship descended, a gleaming crystalline vessel that shimmered under the desert sun. It looked more like a sculpture than a warship. No visible weapons. No armor. No shields. Ambassador Thar emerged first, his tall blue form graceful against Earth's gravity. His eyes widened as he surveyed the scene. Rows of armed soldiers. Armored vehicles. Gunships circling overhead. He was not alarmed, only confused. Behind him, representatives of 11 other species stepped down, each unique in form yet sharing the same serenity in their movements. General Parker stood ready in his decorated uniform, with Dr. Grant at his side holding the translator. Lisa spoke carefully into the device. "Welcome to Earth. I am Dr. Lisa Grant. This is General Scott Parker. We represent the governments of Earth." Star tilted his head, blinking slowly. The translator returned his words in English. "General. This term, unfamiliar. What is a general?" Lisa hesitated. "He commands our military forces." The aliens exchanged rapid, musical tones, surprise, even concern. One of them finally spoke. "Military? On a planet still divided? Perhaps we misunderstood your classification. Do you still fight over territory?" Colonel Hayes leaned toward Lisa, whispering. "Doctor, they really don't know. They don't even understand the concept." And so, carefully, Lisa explained, Earth is a planet of nations, of competing interests. Armies exist to maintain peace. Her words disturbed them deeply. The silver-skinned alien, Yithra, spoke with 4 arms folded. "Multiple competing groups? That is primitive. How do you prevent constant war?" Jake Morrison, watching from orbit, whispered into his comms to Amy. "They've never seen a species that still competes with itself." The aliens began to explain their view of civilization. To them, advancement meant eliminating conflict entirely. Over 300 species were part of the Galactic Confederation, all of whom had undergone what they called peaceful integration. Some required genetic modifications to dampen aggression. Others had neural implants to suppress violent thoughts. Some entire societies had been restructured to erase competition. Lisa's blood ran cold. "And those who refuse?" she asked. The aliens seemed confused. "Refuse? None refuse. Why would any species reject the removal of suffering? War, fear, competition, all erased. All that remains is harmony. And if they did?" Lisa pressed. Star's voice was calm, matter-of-fact. "Containment. Correction. Dangerous species are prevented from leaving their system until they are improved." The humans glanced at each other. It was not guidance. It was forced pacification. And yet the aliens seemed genuinely blind to the horror of it. They demonstrated devices that could alter brain chemistry, shut down neural pathways, restructure thoughts themselves. Completely painless, Yithra smiled. Most species feel relief when their violent impulses are gone. On the screen, examples appeared. Beings who had once been vibrant, passionate, curious, transformed into compliant, docile workers. The light in their eyes extinguished. Lisa felt her stomach tighten. To the Confederation, peace was not freedom. It was obedience. As evening fell over Nevada, the alien delegation revealed their purpose. They had brought enough devices to elevate humanity immediately. To cleanse Earth of aggression. To bring them into the galactic family at last. But humanity was not ready to be cleansed. And the galaxy was not ready for what humanity would show them. The desert night stretched endless and cold, stars burning silently above Nevada. For the first time in millennia, humanity was not staring into the sky in wonder, but with unease. The alien delegation had spoken their offer with unwavering serenity: join us in peace, or be corrected. To them it was not a threat, merely fact. To Earth, it was a blade hidden in a smile. Dr. Lisa Grant sat in the command tent with General Parker and Colonel Hayes. The air was heavy with the smell of desert dust and recycled air. The alien ambassadors waited outside, patient, as if time itself bent for them. General Parker rubbed his temple. They see us as children. They really believe this is kindness. Colonel Hayes shook his head. No, sir. They see us as animals. Dangerous until domesticated. Lisa's voice was quiet, steady. And they've done this before. Hundreds of civilizations. All corrected. All reshaped. All silenced. Her words hung in the air like a funeral bell. The next morning, the Confederation asked for a demonstration of human advancements. Ambassador Starr's voice was gentle, almost apologetic. We wish to understand the scope of your science, so we may judge how far you have yet to grow. Share with us your most powerful invention. Show us your achievements. General Parker glanced at President Carter's secure feed. A silent exchange. A decision made. They would show the aliens something that could not be ignored. Far out in the Nevada desert, beyond the secure zone, a special containment chamber was prepared. The alien delegation was escorted there under careful guard. Inside, Dr. Lisa Grant stood beside a reinforced glass enclosure. Within it floated a small, glowing sphere of light, beautiful, delicate, almost fragile. This, she said softly, is antimatter. The translator rendered the word into alien tongues. The response was immediate. A ripple of alarm passed through the delegation. Yithra, the silver-skinned envoy, stepped forward sharply. Impossible. No primitive species can safely contain such annihilation. Lisa's lips tightened. And yet we do. This is less than 1 gram. Enough to level a city if containment fails. We have learned to harness it. To weaponize it. To use it for energy, and for destruction. Colonel Hayes folded his arms, his gaze unblinking. You wanted our greatest achievement. Here it is. The aliens murmured in dissonant tones, their voices layered with disbelief. Ambassador Starr looked at Lisa with what could only be sorrow. You hold in your hands the fire that unravels stars, and you use it for war. Do you not see? This is proof you are not ready. You are dangerous. Your aggression drives your brilliance, but brilliance without peace leads only to extinction. Dr. Grant's reply was calm, measured, but her words cut deep. Or perhaps peace without freedom is not peace at all. The delegation withdrew that night, their serenity fractured by unease. In their private quarters aboard the crystalline vessel, voices rose in a rare storm of discord. Yithra argued first. They must be corrected immediately. If such a species is allowed to leave its cradle with antimatter, it will not stop at war against itself, it will burn the galaxy. Another envoy countered, no. The protocol demands choice. Offer integration first. Perhaps their aggression can be softened before correction is necessary. Ambassador Starr listened, silent, troubled. In his long life he had never seen such paradox. A species divided, yet unified when threatened. Violent, yet capable of beauty. Dangerous, and yet alive in a way the Confederation had forgotten. He thought of Lisa Grant's words, echoing still, peace without freedom is not peace at all. Meanwhile, in orbit, Commander Jake Morrison and Lieutenant Collins intercepted the aliens' private transmissions. Amy's face paled as she translated fragments. Jake, they're debating whether to re-engineer us. Right now. They already have the technology ready. Neural implants, genetic alteration, forced sedation of aggression. Jake's fist clenched at his side. So that's their piece. Not an invitation, a leash. He stared out at the endless night. Humanity had been underestimated, but now the galaxy would know the truth. The next day, the ultimatum came. The Confederation delegation returned to the Nevada desert, their crystalline ship gleaming like a shard of ice under the sun. Ambassador Starr stepped forward. People of Earth, his voice rang through the translator, calm but heavy, you stand at a crossroads. Join us willingly. Accept integration into the Confederation. Surrender the parts of yourselves that drive violence and war. Or. He paused, not in threat, but in sorrow. Or be contained. Corrected. For the safety of all. The silence that followed was unbearable. Soldiers shifted uneasily. Scientists lowered their eyes. And then General Parker stepped forward. Ambassador, he said firmly, we thank you for your concern. But humanity will not surrender what makes us who we are. Not now. Not ever. Lisa's voice followed, soft but clear. We are flawed, yes. Violent, yes. But we are also creative. Curious. Alive. To take away our aggression is to take away our drive, our passion, our freedom. You ask us to erase ourselves. That is not peace. That is extinction. The delegation stood in silence, absorbing the weight of the refusal. Ythra's 4 arms folded, her tone sharp. Then you choose violence. You leave us no option. Colonel Hayes stepped forward, his eyes unflinching. No. We choose freedom. And if that means war, then you'll learn a lesson the galaxy has long forgotten, humanity does not bow. Night fell again over Nevada. In the distance, stars shone cold and indifferent. But to the Confederation envoys, they no longer seemed like symbols of unity. They seemed like sparks waiting to ignite. For the first time in their long history, the galaxy faced something it had never encountered, a species that would rather fight and risk annihilation than accept perfect peace at the cost of freedom. And deep within their crystalline ship, the Confederation prepared a message, not to Earth, but to the stars. A warning. Humanity has been found. They are not peaceful. They are dangerous. And they will not submit. The message spread faster than light. Across the silent corridors of the Confederation's relay networks, encrypted pulses carried a simple truth: humanity has been discovered. Humanity is dangerous. Humanity refuses peace. On distant worlds orbiting red dwarfs and blue giants alike, species that had long forgotten conflict paused in their endless routines of harmony. They whispered among themselves, if whispering could describe the ripple of thought forms and translated tones. For some, fear took hold. For others, curiosity. But for most, disbelief. How could any species reject the gift of peace? On Earth, the skies above Nevada remained empty now. The crystalline vessel had departed silently in the night, leaving only the memory of its shimmering hull against the stars. In Geneva, Dr. Lisa Grant faced the Global Emergency Council once more. They will return, she said simply. Not as envoys, but as wardens. To them, we are too dangerous to be left free. President Carter folded his hands, his face lined with fatigue. And yet we cannot give them what they want. To erase aggression is to erase choice. Without choice, what are we? General Parker spoke next. They underestimate us. They see only war and violence. They don't understand that the same fire that drives conflict also drives discovery. Without it, we'd never have left the caves. Never have touched the stars. Colonel Hayes leaned forward, his voice steel. Then let them come. Let them see what happens when humanity is cornered. We've survived every empire, every tyrant, every attempt to break us. We'll survive this too. The room was silent, heavy with both dread and determination. Far above Earth, Commander Jake Morrison drifted in the observation deck of New Horizon Station. He watched the stars with new eyes. They see peace as the absence of conflict, he murmured to Amy Collins. But maybe real peace is the presence of freedom. Without that, what's the point of existence? Amy nodded slowly. Do you think the galaxy's ever seen a species like us? Jake shook his head. No. And that's what scares them. In the weeks that followed, humanity prepared in silence. Hidden shipyards came alive. Old war doctrines were dusted off. Scientists whispered of weapons that had only existed in theory. But more than that, there was a shift in spirit. For the first time in centuries, a fractured world began to move with a strange, reluctant unity. Nations still argued. Governments still distrusted. But beneath it all was a shared understanding: if humanity did not stand together, they would not stand at all. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the Confederation struggled with something it had not faced in millennia: doubt. Ambassador Thar recorded his report, his voice low, his words heavy. They are unlike any species we have encountered. They hold destruction in their hands, yet speak of freedom as though it were sacred. They resist not from ignorance, but from conviction. I fear correction may not erase what they are. I fear, it may awaken something we do not yet understand. His report was met with silence by the Council of Worlds. Not rejection. Not approval. Only silence, the kind that speaks of unease, of cracks forming in certainty. On a moonlit night in Nevada, Dr. Lisa Grant stood alone at the edge of the desert. The wind carried the chill of coming winter, and the stars above seemed sharper than ever. She thought of the alien eyes that had looked at her with pity. She thought of the devices that could erase thought, erase choice, erase humanity itself. And she thought of the quiet defiance that had spread like wildfire across Earth. Perhaps, she realized, this was humanity's role in the galaxy. Not to join the Confederation. Not to be corrected. But to remind the stars of something they had forgotten. That freedom is dangerous. That existence is fragile. That consciousness is messy, violent, beautiful, and alive. The first signs came soon after. Distant sensors picked up Confederation fleets moving into position beyond the edges of the solar system. Not an invasion force, but something worse: a wall. Containment. A cage of light and steel, built to ensure humanity never spread beyond its cradle. Colonel Hayes stared at the projections with a grim smile. They think they can trap us here. They have no idea how fast we can adapt. No idea what desperation makes us capable of. General Parker's voice was steady. Then let them come. Let them try to lock us in. They will learn. And so, the galaxy held its breath. For the Confederation, humanity was a test. A threat. A dangerous anomaly that must be controlled before it burned too bright. For Earth, the Confederation was a mirror, showing what peace without freedom looked like, and what humanity must never become. And for those who watched silently from the shadows, the Harari, the architects, the nameless watchers in the dark between stars, humanity's defiance was something else entirely. A spark. A beginning. The first tremor of a storm that would one day shake the galaxy to its core. On the New Horizon station, Jake Morrison looked out once more at the fragile blue curve of Earth. They wanted peace, he whispered. But what they'll find instead, is humanity. And somewhere, across the infinite night, the galaxy began to remember fear.